The first thing now in our songwriting journey is conceptualizing.
Mm-hmm.
So this is something that we haven't taught on YouTube, and no one really ever teaches or talks about, and it's kind of a weird thing. I don't know why people don't kind of share it. Well, I kind of do know why. It's because of a lack of music theory understanding that people feel like other songwriters and producers feel like a little bit like they'd rather have that part of the process swept under the carpet, nothing to see here. But conceptualizing is vital in creating a starting point for your song. And conceptualizing is, it can be many things. Conceptualizing can be a full vision of the song from start to finish, which happens. And then the song, being a child, will obey or disobey your vision.
Yeah.
And I've had both, and both end up with amazing results. So that's the one extreme. The other extreme is to just have a very, very, very small idea of where you want to start, and that can be anything. It can be a one of our YouTube videos is like
Mindfulness bell.
If you hear the bell ringing, it's the mindfulness bell. We work very long hours, so we have this thing set. It's this cool app. It's like every 1 hour it goes off, and then like we just kind of like just have a moment, breathe. Yeah.
Or sometimes we ignore it.
Most of the time we do ignore it. But I just realized, actually, I don't know if you noticed, I realized yesterday that I'm like, I don't think it's gone off in like a couple of weeks. And I don't know what happened. So I went into the app and kind of, it was still on, but it hasn't been ringing. So I just reset it and now started again.
That's why I'm feeling so tense, I guess.
There you go. It's pretty crazy though. Like the thing goes off and then you realize, oh my God, my shoulder's like up here. Like, oh, okay. There we go. So now that we're all relaxed, let's move on. So a starting point could be as small as one little theory hack, just one idea, a scale, a feeling, a chord, anything, right through to the other side, where it could be a concept in terms of the lyrics, the actual message you want to say through the words, and it could be you want to create a musical version of something you've seen, sunset, whatever. So it's like it could literally be anything, but the reason why people like songwriters and producers, the reason why they struggle so much when starting a new project is because of a lack of conceptualizing. So before we ever start anything, it's like, we always conceptualize, like, what is it that we actually want to do? Just like, if you have, you get a speech or something, you've got to go and give a speech. It's like, you don't just turn up with a speech and be like, what should I say? It's like you plan, you conceptualize, you think about what you want to say, and then you use, your language knowledge to say it. It's the same with a song. Every time you put a song into the world, it's saying something. It's very powerful because, if your song is instrumental, then it's saying something musically. If your song has vocals, then you're saying, two messages, which, obviously the idea is to have those in alignment with each other. So it's a, extra reinforced message to the world. So every song you put out has a real potential to create change in the world, and affect people's lives, So you want to actually take some time to think about, like, this opportunity you have to make the song, and then to send it into the world. What do you want to say with that? And conceptualizing allows you to have very clear starting point from which you can then build. So that's the birth of the song, is conceptualizing. And that brings us to the song we're going to do now. This is kind of, for us, I guess it's a little bit more unusual. We normally start with, being music theorists, we normally start with a theory idea. But this time, it started with a visual cue, I guess you could say, and then words, and then kind of into the music. So this is what happened. We every weekend, we live in Victoria, BC, beautiful Victoria, BC, west coast of Canada. So it is, it's absolutely stunning, and we just, pretty close to the sea right here. So we always kind of make a point of going down on the weekends and sitting by the sea and drinking tea. I'm not joking. Let me take our tea down to the sea.
And watch all the dogs. And go, oh,
tea,
dog,
tea and
can
sea.
we get a dog?
Tea by the sea. And yeah, so basically we kind of drive the scenic route, down there, and it takes us past this one point in Victoria, because Victoria is like at the very beginning of the Trans-Canada Highway, which is like this massive, like epic road. I think I've read it was like over 8,000 kilometers or something. It goes like from coast to coast in Canada. I think it's coast to coast.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And I mean, Canada is like what, the second biggest geographical country. So that's a long ass road. So anyway, like, and it starts right here, in Victoria, at the sea, and so there's this sign, and it's kind of like a real tourist thing, and and the sign, it's called Mile Zero, because it's mile zero of the highway, and we literally drive past there like all the time, and we always see the sign, people taking photos of the sign and everything, and and then just the other day, a few weeks ago, like, I just had this really interesting idea of, like, mile zero. I was like, well, it's the starting point, but it's also the finishing point. It's like, is it the beginning or the end? Because you've got this road that goes across Canada, and it's like, well, it starts here and ends there, but what about if you live there? It starts there and ends here. So I kind of like started thinking about this like mile zero thing as being like both the starting point and the finishing point, which kind of makes it this like really interesting like turnaround, and then I was kind of thinking, like, because this is what my brain does, always think of music. I was thinking like mile zero is almost like a root note, in a scale, because a scale is like, a succession of notes, a ladder of notes, and the root note is mile zero, but it's like, do you go up to the root note, or do you start on the root note and come down? So like, in terms of like the spanning of a scale, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, you could start on 8, which is the root note, and come down to the 1, or you start on the 1 and go up. So it's kind of this interesting idea of like, one person's beginning is another person's end, and this kind of idea of like a turning point, and what I'll say now, like, I tried my very best to not think any further than that, because the whole point of this is that, it all unfolds in front of you. So I didn't want to, because I knew if I kind of thought about that too much more, then by the time we hit record here, today, it's already kind of like, you've missed a lot which has already happened in my head. So so that concept, I have no idea like where that's going to go. I don't really know I don't know, like I don't know. I don't know. It was just this idea that I had, and then what happened is I started hearing this this kind of thing theoretically, and this often happens like when you get a concept and then you start thinking of the theory that is connected to that concept, and it could be connected in any way. It could like kind of reflect that concept, or it could give rise to a feeling that describes that concept, whatever. So, and this is kind of where I was thinking, the idea of this turning point, you know, the beginning and the end, and it really reminds me of like the melodic minor scale, which is a really interesting scale because it's actually the only scale. Well, I mean, obviously you can make up your own scales now, but it's kind of like, you know, officially, at the very least, the original scale that was different going up to coming down. So the melodic minor has it's a different scale, ascending to descending, you know, which I really love that kind of, it's a different journey to mile zero, like, you know, depending on where you start, right? The route's the same, like the eight's the same, but it's kind of, it's a different way to get up to it and then to get down to it. So let's get into, I'm going to show you. So by the way, this is our blank canvas. We got some tracks in here. It's got some audio on the top, which we'll probably get to. Kate's singing, me backing, and then guitar. And then I have no idea if we're going to use these or not. I just kind of loaded in some sounds. So as you know, we write the vocal lines in MIDI. So that's Kate's and mine, and then I'll play guitar on this, but obviously we'll do MIDI as well, and then piano. So let's start with piano. What am I doing? Go away. Insert new MIDI item. Okay, so this is the melodic minor. So we'll do A minor. Okay, so A minor, as you know, is just all, let me turn that up, like that's just all the white notes starting from A. So this is what we call the natural minor, or the Aeolian mode, and oh, bit stuttery. I think I got too many VSTs loaded up. Computer says no. Okay, let's take some off. You're working me too hard. Okay, so okay, that's better. So this is what happened back in the day. A few hundred years ago, composers were writing music in minor scales, and what happened is they were playing, you know, this epic piece of music, and then at the very end, they were doing what's called a perfect cadence, which is when you play the fifth chord. So I'm just going to delete all this. So the fifth chord is obviously the E, right? E, G, B, and then they were playing, so the 5 to the 1, that makes a perfect cadence. And that's kind of the ultimate, like, grand finale ending. You know, that gives you like the most complete way to end a piece of music, and it's still used all the time today in pop music. So we go from E, G, B, and then to A. I'll just drag this down to A, C, E. So that's the root. I'm just gonna pull these guys down an octave. And actually, I'm gonna move this one down an octave. Okay, just so it's nice, neat voicing here. So we've got the common note in the middle there. Okay, so this is the 5 chord in A minor to the 1 chord in A minor. Okay, when you listen to that, it sounds quite rubbish, like it's not exactly a very grand ending, and the reason for that is because of this note here, the flat 7, right? So from A, 1 to flat 3, because we're in a minor, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. So the flat 7 up to the root is 2 semitones, and in a major it is 1 semitone. So if you go in C major, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, and that that 7th note, so you can hear like that is like an absolute magnet up to there, up to the root, right? So composers got pissed off that like when every time they were writing in a minor key, they couldn't have that like big magnet to that complete ending and all that nice satisfaction. So what they did was they were like, oh, screw that, I'm just going to borrow that note from the major scale. So if you were playing A major, it would be A, B, C sharp, D, E, F sharp, G sharp, A. So you can hear that like that note there, right? That's the 7, and that gives you that magnet up to like the 1. So they just thought, okay, well, I'm just going to make that into the 7th note from the major key. So in other words, the major scale starting from the same root, so from A. And you ended up with this major chord here, because now this is E, G sharp B instead of E, G, B. So this is actually E major now to A minor. So this is how the scale, which goes like this, A, B, C, D, E. So this is, okay, so that's just the normal minor scale. They did this, okay, and they called it the harmonic minor. The reason they called it that is because it was invented for harmony, right? It was harmonic purposes, because they wanted this chord, the 5 chord, they wanted that to be a major chord instead of a minor chord. And listen to the difference here. So, and that right here, that is what you get in the major scale, and it sounds amazing because it really pulls you up to that root. But when they invented the harmonic minor, I always say it's kind of like Western medicine, you know, like you take care of like one symptom, the symptom of like the flat 7, but then you end up with another symptom, so then you take care of that one, and then another one, and it goes on and on. So what happened when they moved this note from here up to there, what happened is for the first time ever, they created an interval of 3 semitones within a scale. So from one note to the next note, so adjacent notes, they created a 3 semitone interval, and you can see from here, like the F, you got 1, 2, 3 up to the G sharp, and it sounds super weird. So we really like the sound of that because it's got like a bit of an exotic sound, but back in the day that was massively dissonant, and people were like, no way, that is not going to work like that. Because you know, even now we like it, but it definitely sticks out, because our ears are used to hearing intervals of 1 semitone or 2 semitones. And you think about all the modes between all the notes and all the modes, like they, you know, adjacent notes, it's either 1 semitone or 2 semitones. And then suddenly you got this 3 semitone, and they're like, no way, that's too much. It's great that we can get a 5 major now, but the expense of, you know, of doing that. So this is the thing, you get rid of that symptom here, and you've created another problem. And now they were like, okay, well, let's get rid of this symptom, let's cure this symptom with some medication, and then it's going to make another issue. And that's exactly what happened. So in order to fix this 3 semitone gap, what they did was they just moved the 6, right? So the flat 6, which is F, in this context in A minor, so they just moved the 6 up a semitone. So now what you have is, instead of a flat 6, you have a major 6. So now both of these two notes are actually from the major scale. And it did solve the problem, because now from here to here, from the 5 to the 6, it's 2 semitones. From the 6 to the 7, it's 2 semitones. So there's no more 3 semitones, but listen to this. Kind of sounds like almost a major scale, right? Because if you think about the major scale, 1, 2, flat 3, this note here is the only note that is making it a minor scale, because this 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, that's all major. So every single note in the scale is from the major scale except that.
Mm-hmm.
So now you've literally got a scale that is one note different. Sorry, you've got a minor scale that's one note different to its major scale, right? So it's like basically like the happiest minor scale ever. And they were like, okay, that is not really working either. So it's time to fix another symptom. So this is what they did. They were like, okay, we can't change that because we have to have that. But what we can do is make a minor scale coming down. So what they did is they created, and it's actually genius. It is so clever. And this is kind of the conclusion of the little, the tale, the story of how we ended up with the melodic minor. So what they did is they thought, well, coming down, we'll play the minor. So coming down, you have a flat 7, flat 6, and then 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So what you have, I'll just move this over. Let's make. So you have pretty much the happiest minor scale ever going up, right? So you've just got the minor 3, and then everything else is like the major scale. And then coming down, so this bit, this is actually now the original natural minor scale, aka the Aeolian mode. So it's kind of fascinating how that one problem of not being able to create this epic ending in a minor piece of music, that led to the invention of the first scale that was different going up to coming down. It's amazing, and listen to it. It sounds really weird in an awesome way. And you can definitely hear it on the way down. You're like, oh, okay, that's a minor. So here's the thing. Mile zero. You know, when this kind of idea came to me, I just kept thinking of like this right here as being like mile zero. The root at the top of that that melodic minor scale, where you have a different journey coming into it as you do coming out of it. So you know, like it's really cool how you can have this kind of turnaround that is actually kind of it would clash if you did it at the same time. Like, that's pretty fascinating. And you know, and this is it. This is basically as far as I've got in terms of the idea. So the rest is going to unfold in front of your eyes. But I know that I want to play around with this as like the mile zero. And sometimes, like I said, with conceptualizing, if you actually get words, it's kind of cool to actually put that in. So you kind of end up like doing things completely backwards, you know. So we might actually even start with a vocal line, and then like mile zero is going to be the hook, and then we can write chords underneath that vocal line. So I don't know, who knows? And I have no idea what tempo or anything, but I'm definitely hearing this as being the the mile zero. So there you go. Let the fun begin. I'm just going to throw in some hats on the drums. What am I doing? Tones. Okay, so I just got some quarter notes on the hats. So we can, it's just a click track basically. Okay. And, you know, we always kind of want to compose things, like the piano test. I'm always going on about the piano test. You know, great music is great music. So it should sound great on a piano on its own. If it doesn't, then it's not great. You know, if your melody doesn't sound good on piano, if your chord progression doesn't sound good on the piano without any fancy sound production, I mean sound design, or you know, so basically if you strip away the production, it should be a great piece of music on one piano. Because of that, we often start writing things on the piano, and then when you start adding sounds to it, it just really comes to life. So. All right, here we go. So let's have a look at what we can do with this idea. Oh, hello. They're clapping for us. Oh, I'm at the wrong octave. That's fine. Where is?
That's
Oh, come on. Let me take off these. Okay. I think it's probably some heavy, that grandeur piano. It's lovely, but I think it eats up a lot of time here, isn't it? Yeah. We really like this one, but it's like, it's pretty hungry for memory. Ah, it's still going. Alright, what else can I get rid of here? Don't really have anything. Maybe I should restart. Don't want to restart. You know what? I think I'm going to. So, oh, actually, you know what? Oh yeah, I was going to play this. So this is we were down there like a couple nights ago. This is mile zero. Totally forgot to play you. Check this out. I think this should work.
It was dark, so.
It wasn't that dark.
It was almost dark.
There we go.
Hey everyone, welcome to Mile Zero.
Mile zero. What time I see? That's it. That's the sea. West Coast. All right, there you go. So that's the sign we're talking about. Okay, I'm gonna stop this for a second and try to. I'm gonna have a stern chat with this computer and see if we can make it work a little better. All right, and we are back. I think the problem is mainly my computer. I probably need to buy a new computer, but I like this one. She's old.
She's old.
She's old, but she's
old biddy.
she's still she's hanging in there. Anyway, I just deleted a bunch of tracks, and we'll worry about that next time. For now, this is fine. Okay, so we've got the hi-hats in on the quarter notes, just to give us a little click track to work to, and then let's go back into. So this is actually, this is probably going to be Kate's vocal lines. This is probably going to be like the lead vocal. Well, that's the idea anyway. Okay, so that was just that ascending and descending bit. So the kind of rule with the melodic minor is whenever you're ascending, so whenever you're going up, like melodically, so in your melody, if you're moving up, you need to use the ascending part, and whenever your melody is coming down, you need to use the descending part of it. and if your melody goes like up and down and up and down, it's like every time it does that, you need to kind of stick to that that rule, because that's kind of what gives it structure, and it's a wonderful thing to do that, because you create so much variation, because you're kind of using, well, not kind of, you absolutely are then using the 6 and the 7 of the major scale and the minor scale in one melody, which is awesome. You're probably already wondering, well, if you're changing those notes, what about the chords underneath? And that is a wonderful question, because the chords are completely different as well. Obviously, every time you change the notes, then the chords underneath need to also change notes. So that's going to be super fun, because we're going to be doing, so like over this one here, you know, for example, if that was like the 3rd in the chord, you'd be playing like a D major, right? So D, F sharp, A, and then here, D, F, A. So you got like, so this is a major, D major, and that's going to be D minor. And then same here, like this would be like E major, and that would be E minor if you did those in the middle. So that's going to be all kinds of fun, because we're going to be going back and forth between like the same, you know, so maybe like E major and then E minor. I guess we'll keep it in A minor for now. We can use the white note hack, so we're just doing all the white notes, and then once we kind of get Kate singing it, we can transpose it so it's good for her range. Whenever you work with a singer, that's kind of when the white note hack really shines, because every singer obviously has a different range, you know, and yeah, they could probably sing up to or down to the extremes of your melody, but is it comfortable for them, and is it kind of really where they're able to
shine?
Yeah, to shine, you know, because if they're pushing the extremes of their range, you're not going to get the best tone out of them. So, so we can kind of play around with that later. Okay, so let's have a little play around, and let's try to get a hook on that that mile zero thing. So we're gonna need to have a some kind of anchor into the root chord, which is A minor. So I'm wondering if this kind of little run thing should actually start on like a C or something. So C is just the flat 3 in A minor. So that's the note that makes it minor, which makes it sad. So it could be cool to kind of do that. The only thing I do know for sure is that I want, the song wants the top root, like that A up here, that has to be the climax. That obviously has to be the highest part of the melody, because that's the whole point of like that kind of, you know, if you go up to here, or here, whatever, if you go anything above that, you're in the C, right? Because that's the West Coast. That's mile zero. There's, you know, there is nothing past that. You're into the C. So I know for a fact that needs to be the highest note. And whenever you're writing melodies, you always want like a nice big range. Otherwise, it gets boring. So I think we can play around with like some kind of up and down movement that's not very big with the 6 and the 7s, and then maybe the flat 3 down here is going to give us that range that we want. We could also do the 2 as well. So 2s give that real kind of dreamy, floaty sound. So it's a non-harmonic note. Once again, always balancing between harmonic notes, which are in the chord, and non-harmonic notes, which are not in the chord. So let's have a play around. If we start on the C, you know, and also like, you know, in terms of like, is mile zero, is it a happy or sad thing? It's like, well, it's kind of both, and that's why I think, you know, the melodic mind is perfect for that, because it really is both.
Because you get here and you're so excited to visit and to like have, you know, got where you were going. and then you have to leave.
It's a beautiful place, and it doesn't
You
really.
have to leave.
It doesn't
here.
really snow. It hardly ever snows here.
It's amazing.
And then in the rest of Canada, it's just it's a mess.
It's cold.
A
It's
snow,
cold.
a snow mess.
Ow.
So I think people that come here, I think it's happy if they get to stay. If they got to go back to the snow, then it's a sad thing, you know. And I think it's kind of, you know, obviously what's going to happen is that this kind of mile zero thing is going to turn into like a metaphor, you know, because this is what happens with songs. So mile zero is going to mean something different to everyone, and it's, you know, it's our job to kind of make the song like a mirror for someone to reflect in and kind of question what is their mile zero. And I don't even really know what mile zero is right now. I don't even know what it is for me yet, but we're gonna find out. But it's definitely it's a happy and a sad thing. It depends on, you know, which way you're going. I think that's the whole point. So yeah, this is what songwriting's all about. Okay, let's have a look at this. So I kind of want to do something more interesting than just up and down, you know. So I think if we can maybe you know, having a and by the way, we're just working melodically now, not at all rhythmically. The rhythm is going to change. It's going to be whatever it wants to be later, but we're just trying to get a nice contour here. So I feel like potentially, you know, the 7, putting a 7 up to that 8 is going to give us that real kind of magnet up to the root, you know. And then I feel like coming out, this could be really cool to kind of play around with the 2 7s. And let's, you know what, I'm gonna put in just in the piano, because as you noticed, that sounded, actually, you know what? No, I'm gonna do it in the same track. So let's just put in an A minor down here. And we don't even need the chord. We can just put the root. Okay, so as soon as you hit that, you can really hear that, like that major sound. Actually, I feel like it's maybe gonna be better doing the 6. You know, I'm gonna get rid of the C. Let's just work with this bit for now. So let's get that on. Okay, so that's kind of nice actually. Oh, that's the descending one. I do like that. I wonder if there's a way we can bring a note in between. Because if we're gonna be playing, I guess the other thing we could do is just kind of, we could just break the rules and do it however we want, you know. Because I mean, the cool thing about the melodic minor is that you actually have so many notes in your scale, because you've got an extra 2 notes in your scale.
So you've got 9 notes.
Because yeah, you've got like A, B, C. So you don't have the like the flat 2, and you obviously don't have the major 3, and you don't have the sharp 4. But then you got like 4, 5, flat 6, 6, flat 7, and 7. So it's kind of like playing with a 9-note scale. You know, and I'm wondering if it would actually be more liberating to just play around entirely melodically as opposed to following those rules. Because I guess here's the other thing as well. It's like it's going to create a bit more confusion. You know, if it's not so structured, like every time it's going up, it's, you know, the ascending one and down, the descending. You know, if the melody just kind of goes wherever it wants to go, it could actually be a bit more symbolic of that, the questioning that happens at mile zero. You know, we don't know what the questions are, but people ask the questions at mile zero. It's gonna be weird watching this thing back. I mean, the song's all done. Oh yeah, that's what happened. Okay, so I feel like this could be kind of cool, going from the flat 6 up to the 1. You know, and then actually, what might be nice is to hit that 7 on the way down, because that's actually going to create that tension. Because when you go 8-7, it's got a completely different feeling to 7-8. When you go 8, you feel calm and peaceful because, you know, it's the root, it's where it wants to be, and then you create tension afterwards. So it's like, it's the kind of like, you know, tension and resolution backwards. It's like, you know, you are resolved, everything's fine, and then you move away into the tension. So that could be kind of fun actually, to, you know, like hinting at that tension of leaving mile zero. I like that actually, yeah. I feel like maybe, yeah. Let's see what it would sound like to come to the, so this is the major 6 now. Maybe back to... Yeah, and you know what's cool actually? I really like the, so I think this whole thing is going to be just a combination of like all three, like the natural minor, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. Because I really like that three semitone interval between the flat 6 and the 7. So. I wonder if we actually a little bit of a motif like coming down, so 7, so the 7 to the flat 6 up to that 8, and obviously the whole time we're kind of avoiding moving in perfect fourths and fifths, so we have our nice strong intervals. Kind of liking that actually. The tempo is going to be changing the whole time as the songs start to come out, but that's already feeling a bit fast. And I wonder if I feel like I like it to here, and then I think this needs to come down to something. So whenever you're writing a melody, you want to be thinking about where is the perfect fourth and fifth up, and then avoiding that, and then that kind of shows you what your options are. So going from the G sharp, I could go down to the E, G sharp to E. It's 4 semitones. That would work. That's kind of nice. Because also you got like these two are like a semitone apart. That's F and then that's the E. So, and anytime you can create any kind of semitone, even this, it's like you've got a note from the 7 to the 8. You've got one in between here, so you're not actually getting a semitone, but your ear is still hearing this, that movement. And we're playing on that by the accents. So you've got an accent here, because this is obviously the, if I put it back to quarters, that's what eighths, this is your offbeat, right? But it's still, it's not a 16th off, it's just an eighth. So you're getting, and then this one here is on the second beat. So that's even probably going to be on a snare drum. So you're definitely getting that sense of a semitone up there, and then obviously the semitone down here. So yeah, semitones are super rare. So basically this, you're immediately hearing like the harmonic minor. And then, so I mean, so far we're just in the harmonic minor, which is funny because obviously the harmonic minor was not invented for writing melodies. But these days the harmonic minor is awesome for writing melodies because it's got that exotic 3 semitone interval. Having said that, if we don't actually put in a flat 7 and a major 6 somewhere, then we're not really in the melodic minor. So I think that at some point that needs to be what we do. I do like it though. I wonder if we can go up maybe here to the, or there. Oh, that could be kind of interesting because then you get. Oh, what about if we did this? Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah,
what do you think? Is that?
great. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. Do you think it should be
Maybe give me a little bit of variation. Or staying with the motif.
No, I kind of like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, because you got that little motif over there, and then you got the
long note.
Yeah.
Long note.
So that's at like 3/16, and that's 3/16. So I do like that. The only question now is, do we want to bring in that lower that C we were talking about to start things off? So that C, because currently we don't have anything locking it into the minor quality of that A minor. And we can also do it like. That's kind of cool. Or the 2? No. Or we could just save it. I feel like maybe it's moving too quick. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think we got a hook there. Yeah.
Could even harmonize with the one.
So this is kind of one bar, I guess, because that's definitely a phrase. Like I don't think it wants anything there. So. I mean, let's have a look at. It definitely needs range, but I don't think. I think that's a phrase on its own.
Yeah.
I would like to bring it down though. So, and this is the thing, right, where the music writes itself. You know, it's like we've kind of got this thing. It's all like pretty much around the same range. So we want to really drop it, which means that I'll show you if I'll just put the note here. If we go to here, we're not really dropping it. That's not really dropping it. And now here, the D, like G down to D, that's a perfect fourth. And if you haven't watched the videos about perfect fourths and perfect fifths, or it's actually in the PDF as well, I think, as a songwriting and producing PDF, but those intervals, they vibrate so similarly together that they sound very similar to each other. And it's not an opinion, it's just like that's just the science of how those two sound waves vibrate. So whenever you have an interval of a perfect fourth or a perfect fifth, they sound so similar that they've done studies, and even like non-musicians often hear those can ignore that one. Non-musicians often hear perfect fourths and perfect fifths as one note. They can't even hear that it's two notes if they play together, obviously. So whenever you're playing a melody, if you move up or down a perfect fourth or perfect fifth, and a perfect fourth is just 5 semitones and a perfect fifth is 7 semitones. Whenever you do that, it's a very, very, very boring interval. Because we say it's like, scientifically speaking, it's very boring, and it really is. So if you want to go from a note up a perfect fifth or whatever, if you want to go from this note to that note and the distance is a perfect fifth, fine, but like stick a note in between so you break that perfect fifth up, right? And the cool thing is then you end up with melodies that you wouldn't have written normally. So it's really, really cool. And anyway, so how that relates to choosing the next note in the melody, it's super fun because you just kind of say, well, the melody wants to drop down quite a big interval, and you just go through them. It's like, what are the options? So going from G down to D, that's perfect fourth, down to C, that's a perfect fifth. So those are all out. So we've literally got the first note we can use is going to be this note here, the B. So the music really writes itself in that way. And we could also go down to the A.
So we've got a 1 or a 2.
Basically, we've got a 1 or a 2. And actually, that's taking for granted that we don't change the chord, which I don't think we should, actually, because it's kind of, as soon as you change a chord, you lose that magic. I think there's something we can play around with, with the kind of the majors and the minors around these notes, but not over this bit. I feel like that needs to be kind of, that could be kind of cool. I don't know, I feel like maybe the whole thing is so weird. I feel like maybe it does just want like
Yeah.
You know what, I kind of, so it's got like because the remind me, we're still actually currently only really in no, we are. We got the flat 7. So we are officially in melodic minor. Not really following the rules, but
when do you?
That's what, well, spent a long time learning them so I can break them. Okay, so we actually are in melodic minor, safe and sound, because of this flat 7. Without that though, that's just 7 flat 6. So without that note, it would just be harmonic minor. And that's kind of why that note really sticks out as well. Okay, so but what I'm hearing over this is because it's like that A, it's kind of got like a real drony sound to it. So I'm actually kind of hearing something like something kind of almost like kind of like a bit of a hip hop groove almost, like where it's just that one. Do you know what I mean? Hip hop's all about the 1 and the 2 and. So, oh no, now it's gonna misbehave. Just as we get to the exciting bit. Where's my bass? That's not on. Down basses, down. Oh. See, that's where we might end up like
moving it,
yeah. So bass guitar, like a 4-string bass guitar goes down to E. That's the lowest note here. So I could hear that like a little bit lower. Ah, why are you doing this to me today?
Sorry.
It's good. It's glitch up. Oh, okay. I don't know what's going on. I kind of do need that. I'm gonna pause. I'm just gonna see if I can do something with this. 1 second. Okay, so we've just had a few minutes arm wrestling with the computer. I think apparently we're asking too much of her, making her work too hard. She's really old, and she's just not playing. She's not a team player today. I seriously think we're gonna have to actually get a new computer because unless every song we do is glitch up, I don't think it's gonna work. So anyway, tried a whole bunch of things now, and it's still not working very well. So maybe the computer is telling us that that's enough for today. It's fine to render, so I'm going to render what we did now, and then we'll just kind of play through it a couple of times. But there you go. We've got the A melodic minor that you've now learnt about, and yeah, and that note there, the flat 7, that's the one that makes it a melodic minor as opposed to just being the harmonic minor, because up until here it's all just harmonic minor, and then that flat 7 makes it melodic minor, and then these 2 roots at the end. I'm kind of wondering actually if those are going to be like 0, 0. That could be kind of cool, right? Because it's the root as well, right? So yeah,
even be BBs. No, we want it in the because that's the root. Yeah.
I'm pretty excited to kind of get going with like fitting in that mile 0, because I think because it's a hook, we might end up like actually kind of with the lyrics coming out a bit, because obviously this is not all going to be mile 0. So it might. I mean, you could have melismas, but that's probably a bit much. So anyway, we'll do a little render and then kind of play it through. So you'll see it playing, but you'll be hearing the render. Yeah, see what you can do with the melodic minor and all the harmonic minor, and we will see what we can do with this computer, and we'll see you next time. So yeah, thank you once again, big time for kind of being part of this, apprenticeship program. So yeah, every time we do this video, there's going to be, we're using the songwriting process and our music as the example, but the whole point of doing this is that you can then take that experience and apply it to your music. Because we're here to inspire and empower you as songwriters and producers. That's why we're here. So we'll be back and all over our technical difficulties next time with a whole bunch more. And I would like to say next time we'll be doing this, but I have no idea what we're going to be doing next time. The song will tell us. And I promise not to do anything in between sessions as well. So you're not going to kind of come in next time and it's like, yeah, I kind of did this, added this, and finished that.
Because he could spend like 10 minutes and then it could be a whole different song.
Yeah.
Literally, he's that fast. So I'll make sure he doesn't touch it.
This whole process is very different for me. Like most of the songs I write them from start to finish in one day. I sit down. Often I don't even get up for a pee. I just sit down. I write the whole song, and then it's done. So it's kind of a completely different process for me as well. Anyway, enough rambling. We will see you next time, and thank you so much once again for your support.